And focus your mind to this bell sound. And while you're focusing to the sound mentally, relax your body, relax your mind, relax your breathing and relax your thoughts. And gently close your eyes, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So, dear Dhamma friends, in the beginning, we're going to develop a tranquility meditation, Chitta Bhavana or Samatha meditation, Samatha mental culture, focusing our mind to inhalation, exhalation. So, in the beginning, focus your mind in front of your nose and your upper lip area and allow your inhalation, exhalation to happen itself. So you no need to count, don't hold your breathing, don't visualize, or don't try to interfere with the inhalation, exhalation. Just allow it to happen naturally, and when it happens, recognize it. So you're developing art of seeing. So seeing means not doing anything, just watching and recognizing. So if your mind go here and there, don't try to struggle with the mind. Just keep focus yourself to the inhalation, exhalation, or your primary mental object. Mostly what is happening when the mind go here and there, we go with the mind and sometimes we get disturbed out of it and we ourselves get disappointed. And when you get disappointed itself, you detach from the mental object. And then again and again you separate from it. But you no need to do anything, and remember, and just stay with the inhalation, exhalation, and keep focus to the primary mental object again and again and again and again. Don't even think about whatever the mind going to do or whatever happening with the mind. So the thoughts. So your intention should be keep focus to inhalation, exhalation. And then when the inhalation, exhalation happens, recognize it through the sensation, not imagination. So how you can get the sensation? Focus your mind to in front of your nose and your upper lip area and stay calm and relax and wait. And sometimes it is your posture is important. So then look yourself and in the beginning have the right posture. And it is okay to do little experiment yourself, moving your upper body a little bit back and forth or your head a little bit up and down and find the right posture. And once you have the right posture, just keep it. So recognize inhalation as inhalation, exhalation as exhalation. And from there, and then you may see that the entire continuation of the inhalation, exhalation. So it is already there. Only thing, when you put the attention and observe, you recognize it. And also some inhalation become longer, shorter, heavy, soft, warm, cold. So that also you may recognize. And go with it and don't don't get disturbed out of whatever the thoughts or whatever happening around you. And tranquility state means you have a moment that you stay in your primary mental object without getting disturbed out of anything. And from there, you can make your mind usable to whatever you want and you can focus to that. So once the mind developed to that point, your body, breathing, thoughts, and the mind start to settle down as one. So from there, we go to Vipassana level of observation. So in the Vipassana level, completely observe the sensation of the body. And when you observe the sensation of the body, remember, and place to place, there are different kind of sensations arise. Just recognize it. And some places sensation is very rough, some places very soft, so like that. But you no need to categorize it. Just whatever it is available there, just see it. Don't interfere with it. Don't go with it. Don't add any thoughts. Just recognize. And when you go deeper, sometimes you see that whole your body have the same kind of sensation. Or sometimes some sensation has power to ignite your past memory. So that's very neat. It is not a kind of like a very special thing. As example, when you observe kind of sensation, you see the sensation and right away it trigger the memory. And 10 years back, whatever happened, maybe you had an unpleasant situation and then it brings the worry, unhappiness. And some student ask, oh, when I practice meditation, this happened to me. I felt so sad about myself. It's because deeply you went with that memory and you didn't see that deeply with the defilement or the mental formations you caught up there. And then you used to think deeply with that. And in the surface level, you forget you just observing. And happy moments also can happen. And some students say, oh, I feel so happy. I feel so light and comfortable. And as example, it like this. You had a dream, maybe in your childhood. So because this memory is so strong, I just giving some example. Maybe you had a dream in a childhood. In a surface level of mind, you don't have that memory. So, but in deeper, in your subconscious, that memory is still there, that regarding that dream. Maybe you felt it is a very pleasant dream, sweet dream. And then what happens, sometimes can happen, the sensation somewhere in your body, when you deeply observe what is happening now, all the perception calm down, your eye, ear, nose, tongue, body calm down, and the surface level of the conventional level of mind calm down. And because of that, your defilement, your mental formations can become stronger. And then right away, this sensation trigger that go and ignite that past memory. And then that the whatever the pleasant memory come up, and then you think, oh, when I practice meditation today, I felt so good. See, now you caught up and you disconnect from observation and you get into so good. That's mean you done. So that's why you have to remember it. If you experience something unpleasant or pleasant, remember you already caught up in that tangle. That itself is the very nature of the mind. So you cannot, it's kind of like when it comes to clear comprehension, the sati sampajanya, when it comes to clear vipassana wisdom, you cannot have the pleasant or unpleasant. The feeling depending on memory or something. It's because you cannot have a dualistic or dependent mind. As example, that you felt so good regarding that you had the memory. So then that it doesn't mean your awareness, because it already depending from the past. If something depending from the past and if you experience that, that is not experience. You are not free. So that's why when it comes to awareness, that's why you have to be so sharp and clear. So only thing is, from samatha level, you get the mind not to disturb from the surface level, but in the vipassana level, again and again, moment by moment, you have to develop and see the clarity that you develop with the very free and clear mind, without depending from any thoughts, any idea, any pattern, any culture, tradition, or don't bound to anything. Completely be free yourself and observe. And when that observation, remember, don't stay too long in one place. So it is important in the beginning, because that's where sometimes you go with it. So you recognize the sensation, and then you see somewhere, then you go to that, then you see another place, you go to that. So like that. And some sensations ignite, so don't go with it. And sometimes some inhalation, that some feelings, and bring the entire feelings in a certain level, you feel the same. But out of this all, how you can break down this all, just see the change. How, just observe and recognize the change, because when you see the change, you're not going to caught up with the memory. The feelings has no power to go and ignite the memory. But when you see something as entity, as something exists there, and you give power, you give authority to to ignite or the trigger the memory. So that's why when you see the change itself, it become release. So whatever the feelings arise in deeper level, just see. Another thing is, observe without your intention how the feelings itself arising and disappearing, arising and disappearing. So let's practice a little bit. And be comfortable with your posture, your right palm on your left, neck head straight in one line. Bring your attention to your body. Scan head to toes yourself and say Sopatveva, or may I be well and happy, 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path and achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge in this moment. With this sitting, may my body become more comfortable, may my breath be more smooth, may no difficulties come to me, may all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we are spending in this very lifetime, and detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your body. So bring your attention to in front of your nose and your upper lip area. Deeply and gently breathe out 3 times, and find the sensation, please. And bring your attention to the sensation and observe and recognize inhalation as inhalation, exhalation as exhalation. Follow the entire continuation of the inhalation exhalation. If your mind go here and there, keep your attention again and again towards the sensation of the inhalation exhalation. You may see some inhalation become longer, exhalation become longer, shorter, heavy, soft, warm, cold. Just accept it and recognize. Bring your attention to your body. Observe the sensation. See it separately. Bring your attention to your body. Observe your posture. We cultivate loving kindness and compassion in our heart and radiate it as a light through your compound, village, city, state, country, around this world, and also around this universe. And as far as we can, through galaxies, other planets, stars, reminding ourselves like this. With clear intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe, and may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one, out of anger or ill will, wish anyone any harm. So expand the loving kindness and compassion beginning from your heart forward. Visualize yourself and send it as a light, and little by little expand the capacity to your backside, to your left side, and to your right side. Downward and upward. To all six directions at once, like the moon, the sun. Spread the light, spread the energy without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it, with the maximum effort to the highest. Wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. So, dear Dhamma friends, so when we practice this meditation, so remember it is not separate from your conventional life. It's going to make your conventional life more clear, because that conventional clarity leads you to have the eternal clarity. So in this conventional life, that there are certain things that live with us kind of like a very friendly way, but at the same time it become a deeper hindrance for us to when it go to spiritual development. So one of the thing is the will or the freedom. So when it come to freedom, we all like to be free. Everybody in this world looking for freedom. And even not only the human beings, the entire the existence of the living beings itself looking for freedom in a certain ways. But when it comes to human life, what we understand as freedom, because in the Vipassana level, when it comes to Vipassana knowledge, and when it comes to experience of the deeper inside meditation, and the freedom that you experience is completely become different than this conventional freedom. So, but when you have this conventional freedom, if you don't have the clear understanding regarding it itself, that freedom leads you to the samsara. So let's see and how this happening. So mostly when it comes to freedom, that we think one thing is we try to go away from something, like as example fear, anxiety, depression, and the authority, and the even kind of like the poverty. So many kind of social mental states, we try to go from something to something. So if you always try to go from something to something, it's not going to become the freedom. If you look try to go from one place to another place, it always not going to become freedom. It is just conventionally you change the environment. So as example, from fear, you try to go to comfort. In that moment, you think you have the freedom. But when you go to comfort, you already depending from the comfort, and then you are not free. So from anxiety, from depression, if you go to the happiness or the contentment, in that contentment, if you going to become a prisoner. So then if your freedom always depending from something, remember that is not the freedom. And other thing is the choice. Sometimes the very conventional freedom, the very nature of the conventional freedom giving you a choice and giving you a free will. This is kind of like a trap. This is what the hold us to samsara. Because name of the freedom, when you have the choice and when you have the free will, you become comfortable with it. You don't question anymore. You don't look further. You don't look into, and you don't question it, and you don't want to analyze it. So you become comfortable with that. When you have the choice and when you have the free will. So when you look at the conventional life from the human history, name of the freedom, what all the kings or the queens or the countries or the constitutions or the authorities or anybody try to give you freedom of choice and freedom of the free will. But when you look deeply, when you have a freedom of choice and when you have freedom of free will, you are itself not free. Because the choice always comes out of the conflict. When you have a lot of things, you go for one. That is what choice. So when you have a lot of things, so what does that mean? You are in conflict. You are in confusion. So in that confusion, you become comfortable with something. So that is what choice. In your confusion, you find the comfort with something. And then you become happy. So then that happiness or that comfort not allow you to question it. So what is happening? It allows you to settle down there. And the free will the same. When somebody giving you the free will, and then you go with the choice. So from where the free will come, because the free will always empower the desire. So the free will means whatever the desire you have, and you can go for it. So then your free will means you empower your desire. So that's mean you depending from the desire. So if you depending from the desire, then again that desire can bring you the greed, hatred, and the delusion. So that is itself the samsara. So then you have to deeply question, What is the real freedom that we look for? What is the real freedom that we can experience? So in this meditation, that is where I take you. Because in the vipassana level, there is you find the real freedom. How? Because when you have a choice, the choice come out of the confusion, and that confusion itself depending from the memory. So another thing is, the choice always happen when you don't see things very clearly. If you listen this very carefully, if you see something very clearly as it is, like as always we talk in the vipassana level, when you see something very clearly, in that very moment, you have no choice. There is no moment in your mind to select something, because you see exactly things as it is. So then reverse that and come back and look again. So then the choice comes when you don't see something as it is. So then you have to question why you don't see. Because you don't see, you believe the choice as a freedom. Then you don't want to question it. You don't go beyond it. So that's why in the vipassana, when it comes to that, it's saying, release all the patterns, get out of all the methods, completely, just be completely free and see. Because in that very moment, if you able to see something very clearly, in that very moment, that what you seen release you from the choice. And then you come out of the confusion. That is what the real freedom. So then, because when you see something very clearly, there is no question. But in day-to-day life, are we experiencing that it like that? And when it comes to seeing, also you have to remember. So as example, that you have this pen, and the seeing is unconventionally, sometimes you think from here, from inside to outside, you project, you look. But looking that way, you cannot get into the clarity. But that is what we do. Hearing to outside, looking to outside, smelling to outside, and tasting to go towards the outside. The physical comfort, looking from outside, and mentally also thinking far away from the past or the future. But when it comes to vipassana level, so you don't look into outside, but you look into inside and see your inner experience. When you able to recognize that, because when it in front of you, there is nothing to see here. It already happened. Why you have to see this? Because it already is there. So even the sound, see, there is nothing to hear. It's already there. But in deeper, how you deal with your mind? Are you aware about that? When you aware about that, that is what really in the vipassana level, you experience as seeing, as hearing, as smelling, as tasting. So then look into that. And when it comes to freedom means how the conflict or the confusion happen when you look for something. Even you may have idea, I want to be free from this or that or like that. You have many ideas, you're looking for freedom. And as example, in the American history, it say what? In the history, why people came to America? Looking for freedom. See, they're looking for freedom. And even in the constitution, most of the countries giving the freedom. But still, in within these 5,000 years in the world history, in the human history, there are recorded more than 50,000 wars happen. 15,000 wars happen in between humans. That most of the wars came out of the choice. That's mean believing. That's mean what they see, what they like. So if you see, if your choice is true, what you select, or when you have a selection, what you get, if it is true, right, how it can take you to a war. So even the religion, even the culture, even the tradition, if you see it very clearly, how it is possible, it can become a difficulty for somebody else. But this is what keep happening. The reason is we look outside. We never go into inside and see what is happening within ourselves. Why? Because we don't want to question us. We don't want to question us. We always try to facilitate us. And sometimes we see. And what we believe, what we see, it doesn't make any sense. Or it doesn't bring any kind of wisdom. But still we don't want to question. Even it happened to us. And then even your family members, you don't want to question them. So sometimes whatever they do wrong things, you facilitate them. And even when it comes to your village, and sometimes if somebody did something wrong in your village, and then you don't want to question it. You always try to somehow make it kind of like a right. And then when it comes to your state, and then you don't want to question it. And how about when it comes to your country, you don't want to question. So country mean what? Country mean we are. So then yourself you have to question. Is this the freedom? Is this your freedom? If your freedom take you to conflict or the confusion or difficulties or the war or unhappiness or the unrest or the fear, unhappiness, unsatisfaction to you or somebody, do you think it is the right freedom? So that's why the Buddha's teaching, it universal. And especially the Buddha mentioned not even the samadhi, the vipassana knowledge. It's nothing to do with any kind of ethnic groups. It nothing to be not belong to any kind of religious belief. It is for entire humanity and the all living beings. Why? Because when you have the real freedom, that is where you and all other living beings going to be comfortable. So, but in this conventional life, the freedom that we have, the freedom we believe, as choice, or as from this point to that point we're looking for something, or free will, the desire. The free will means the what? We have the desire, I have opportunity to go for it. So this all conventionally leads us to again and again unrest, disease, unhappiness, fear, and that is what calls samsara. And the thing is, when we brainwash and we kind of like mesmerize from that freedom, we don't question it. That is the misery, because you are in the prison and you don't know you are in the prison. You think you are free, and then you stay there, and then for your children, for your next generations, and for other people, you give it. You give it as a gift. You give the free will, you give the choice to others, but you don't see it. You give the prison, half of your prison to them, half of prison to them. So then when it comes to, then how you can get the real freedom? How you can find it? So in the very first thing that you have to do, start to see clearly. So when you start to see clearly, it is, as I mentioned, it is not look outside. The real seeing means look inside. Feeling, the form, feeling, sensation, formations, and consciousness. So the 5 aggregates. And recognizing this. And when something comes to you, it is feeling. So that is the form. It can come as a sound, it can come as a picture or the colors, and it can come as aroma or the smell. That's the form. It can come as the taste. That's the form. It can come as the sensation. That's the form. It can come as a thought. That's the form. Recognize it. It is possible. It is very possible. As a human being, you can do this. That's why the Buddha taught this. Otherwise, why the Buddha need to come to this world, and after the many eons, deeply he sacrificed himself and practicing himself and looking, searching, investigating himself and sacrificing all his life. And finally, he attained to the Buddhahood after, the very difficult, great suffering. And then, why he taught this? Because it is very possible for you. In this very moment, it is very possible. But the thing is, the freedom that what we believe, we don't question. We don't look further. So if you don't look further, you don't see. So the meditation is the art. In the tranquility meditation, first you make your mind usable to see, and then in the vipassana level, you see completely, clearly. What you see, not the outside, what is happening within yourself. When you experience something, what is happening to you. So when you see that way, mostly what is happening, our own feelings, our own memory, our own defilement, it's become the hindrance. So again and again, when you see, then you're going to slowly break it down. Because the mind has no form, mind just go with whatever available. So then if you able to practice little by little, then you're going to recognize that. Remember, when you are able to see things very clearly, you get out of the choice. You come to the real experience. That is where you really get into as a human being, using this human mind. That is the moment you really going to experience something. If you go with the choice, always remember, it always go to the confusion. But when you really get into the point to see something very clearly, that it always take you to the happiness, completion. In that completion, that you become more comfortable, more comfortable, more comfortable. In that comfort, you deeply resonate within yourself and recognizing how things come to be as they are. Because there's nothing to look. See, in life, when you really see something, when you really know something, you don't look anything anymore. You have no choice because you know what it is. And then everything disappear. Maybe there are a lot of things available, but everything disappear. But the thing is, in conventional life, when somebody give a choice, oh, select whatever, you become so happy. Why? Because it mesmerizes our mind. And then we become more comfortable. We don't look anymore. And then we caught up from there. And then what is happening? We pass the time. Once we pass the time, then we lose. Because everything, it's a game with the time. The Mara means nothing else but the time. Tick, 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 you always see. That is the real Mara. It's the clock. Everywhere it's saying what? You're going to go, you're going to die, you're going to go. Anytime it can happen. So we look the clock, but we don't care. And we see the calendar, we see the time, we don't care. Why? Because we have the choice. We become happy with it. We have the free will. We can get all the desires out of whatever we can do, and then we go with it. That itself, the real samsara. So, because when it comes to reality, you cannot have the choice. As example, just imagine. Can you tell your husband or wife, you are my choice? If you say so, that means you have some other options. So then there is no love. But when it comes to the real love, you have no choice. You don't go for a choice. So for your children, you never say, I choose you. You accept it. From where that acceptance comes? You don't question. It doesn't matter hey, the child become handicapped or not. It doesn't matter child become ignorant or the wise child. It doesn't matter. If the child do very difficult things, hard things to accept as parents, but still you accept it. You don't go to choice. Why? Because you have the love. So from where that love comes? That love comes not because of the desire. That love comes because of the real connection or the compassion. But if the love comes out of the desire, you're going to have a very difficult time. Maybe you're going to get married a person because of the desire, and later, within few years, you are in hell. If you go through the choice, you have many choices, and then out of that you go to your husband or wife because of the choice, your life going to have difficulty, conflict, confusion. So that's the example. You can look yourself. But when it comes out of the real love, you don't see anything anymore. And then you go for it. And from there, It doesn't matter whatever happens. That doesn't mean you're not going to have a hard time. But even if there is a hard time come, you're not going to question it. You're not going to go away from that. You don't look to jump away from it. That's how. Look at how these homeless people, they sleep on the street. And sometimes husband, wife, and whole family. They are. Sometimes I look how it is possible. Maybe one person become homeless, it is okay. But why that the whole family stay together? In far away in villages sometimes, in poor families, where when they have the real love, they don't look for something. They don't question anything. But name of the freedom, sometimes ourselves, we think the questioning everything is a part of the freedom. No. When it comes to real freedom, remember, there is nothing to question. The real freedom take you to the point to get out of the choice, get out of the free will. You just be. There's nothing to achieve. There's nothing to gain in that freedom. So then remember, why we cannot get that? Because we don't see things very clearly. When you don't see things, you always have to have a choice. So in the Vipassana, it takes you to see things very clearly. Clear awareness, sati sampajanya, clear comprehension. In that very moment, in the Vipassana, you just experience. And that is the highest of the human existence that you can experience. And in that very moment, the completion arises. In that completion, contentment and the happiness and satisfaction, it's everything there. You don't look for anything. That's where you gain the liberation. Because why? Because you complete. So then remember, little by little, when you practice, it is possible. You can gain it. In this very life, you have the best opportunity. Why? Because from our human civilizations, that your genes and your all the immunity, that everything inbuilt and upgraded to that level to experience that. It's kind of like these computers look, in the 10 years back to, the record something, even to play something, it is very difficult. It takes so much time. The memory is so slow, connected to internet, you have to take time. It waiting and counting 1, 2, 3, 4 to 100, waiting. But look today, just put the button, you get connection. It's the advance of the technique. The same thing in your mind, you also advance to that level with your entire nerve system, with your brain and everything. You are not kind of like 100 years back the person. You are more developed. So more than any other time, you are capable to access to this. Only thing is we just comfortable with the conventional level of freedom. So get out of it. Question yourself that. And look deeply and experience something without choice. So that is what you gain out of this practice, little by little. So in Japan, before they have this Zen meditation, before the Buddhism go there, and they had the tradition to stay silence, and that it called Tendai meditation, and they stay silent. So there were 4 friends, and that one day they thought, okay, let's practice silence, and no one talked. And then in the evening they start in a little place and they start to practice meditation. So now 4 of them silence. And then one saw the lamp, and it was little but night, and the lamp, the oil, and little by little burn, and the land became empty. And there was the other friend close to the lamp. And then now he was seeing this lamp going to die, it's go away. And then he told to his friend, can you put some oil? And then the friend next to the lamp, and he told, why you talk? And then the third person told, you both forget, and we decide not to talk. The fourth one told, see, only I didn't talk. So that is the human nature, because knowingly, unknowingly, unconsciously, we just go with others. We just go with the memory. We just go with the pattern. But when it comes to vipassana, to get out of that role, you just become completely empty and just see. So spend some time in day-to-day life. Just see a little bit. When you see, remember it is not outside. Look at inside you. So with that, I bless upon everyone with this good practice. May all of you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May no problems come to you. May you also have the patience, courage, understanding, and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbityo vajjantu sabbarogo vinassatu mate bhavattantarayo sukhi digayuko bhavat. Ittavata ca ammihi sampadang punya sampadang sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Idam me punya kammang asavattaya vahangotu sabba dukkha pamuncatu. Bless you.